guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. I got my man KingTurk back on the channel. Want to wish all my Muslim viewers a very happy Ramadan today. And bait is back in a big way. Well, did it ever really go anywhere? Hey, check out this deck. Now this deck was already good, but let's take a look at the two changes that will make this deck just a little bit better after the balance update. By the way, not saying that bait's going to be super OP, but there's no doubt about it. The deck got better, not worse. You know, two buffs. Here's one to Goblin Barrel. This is the new changes right now on your screen. Barely even noticeable, very subtle there, but essentially just, you know, very, very quicker with the Goblin Stab there in the Goblin Barrel, more apt to get that extra first hit on if the opponent delays with the log. And you guys just saw it there with the Princess. 33% faster projectile speed is going to help clip those Spear Goblins as they come out of the HUD and just lock onto those Swarm cards a little bit faster. So I have KingTurk back on the channel, guys. Again, he's 35th, I think, in the world right now using this deck, so it's already a good deck. And again, you know, just to reiterate, even a lot of you guys in yesterday's comments, I asked you in the mortar video, what do you think of bait? Is it going to be super OP? And a lot of you guys said, nah, these buffs are not big enough to make bait OP or make bait that great. But, you know, again, bear in mind here that KingTurk, players like him, a lot of other players I hear in the comments after these bait videos too, they already like these decks. They're already strong. So they just got a little bit better. Whether that's enough to push it into, you know, super meta OP territory, well, that remains to be seen. So in today's video, you can see right now at the bottom of your screen, right? He's 9-2 in this GC. So this video might be a huge bust if he loses this first match. I'm counting on him at least. I told him if he loses, we can switch to ladder for the rest of the video. But I want to at least give him the opportunity to try to finish out this Grand Challenge live. So it might be Grand Challenge and ladder. It might be, if he can sweep it, just a Grand Challenge. So I'm also going to go ahead and cover, in case you missed the last time KingTurk was on the channel last month, I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys his top 6 tips to have success playing this deck, but we'll do that in maybe the next or the final, I don't know, what, a little bit later in the video is what I'm trying to say, guys. So the Inferno Tower, crucial in bait decks right now. In my opinion, I would advise you guys not to play. I mean, if you're comfortable with it, of course, go with whatever you're comfortable with, right? But I think personally the Inferno Tower way better than NATO. That was kind of the trade-off for a while there in the meta dating back a couple of months. But now Inferno Tower is back in a big way, and obviously it did not get any sort of a nerf in this balance change. So I would advise you guys run the Inferno Tower version of bait decks. And Fire Spirits, well, that's KingTurk's special weapon, right? He's one of the only top ladder pros who actually plays Fire Spirits, and I give him credit for that. I think that Fire Spirits are an incredibly good card. And look at that Ice Spirit Goblin Barrel, combo there on the right tower, taking it down to 1569. So we talked a little bit about the deck. Again, we'll talk about the tips later on in this video. Let's go ahead and pay attention to here, because it's kind of a must-win situation, right? We're 9-2 right now inside this GC. Prince goes ahead and takes care of that mortar. We're going against a mortar bait deck. Mortar miner bait with the skeleton barrel as well, so a lot of bait in this deck. Skelly barrel and the rascals instead of the prince and whatever card would normally be in that spot instead. So we have a high princess there kind of sniping that mortar. Meanwhile, we're using a lot of cards here. We're using our fire spirits, we're using our goblin barrel, just buying time for that princess to hopefully stay alive, distracting that mortar, and the zap comes down. So we keep, oh, we don't keep the princess alive. Easy, Ash, the curse of Ash right there. I was gonna say we keep the princess alive, but we're able to cycle back to another one and defend pretty well there, although the skeletons do take a few hundred damage off that left tower, taking down to 1367. Meanwhile, we have the fire spirits make contact with those girl rascals. Now the princess is gonna clean up those bats as well. And remember, princess, these right now, this is being played on Sunday. This is not with the balance changes. The only new version that you saw in this video is, of course, what I showed you at the very beginning. Zach comes down against that skeleton barrel. We have a charging prince in the left. He's forced to use a goblin gang there, sets up with a mortar defensively. Goblin barrel goes in, snowball down on our fire spirits. Prince is on that left tower, takes it all the way down to 1303, but the right tower is down to 546. 40 seconds here into overtime, guys. We have a prince on that miner and the skeleton barrel. We have zap in hand again for the skeleton barrel. Time it perfectly. Skeleton barrel is one of those sneaky cards. I mean, I think all of us, even pros sometimes, are fooled by the timing on those skeleton barrels. But goblin barrel connects on the right. Prince connects on the left. Prince is going to get the job done there. So a much needed victory there by KingTurk. Let's go into match number 11. Go for win number 11. Alright guys, here we go into the next match, and against Hatcher from Crucible Rage. So, now's a good time at the beginning of the match to start getting into the pro tips for this deck. So tip number 1 is, in the words of KingTurk, I always use Ice Spirit or Fire Spirits in front of the Prince when I play him at the bridge, and this is to prevent the Prince being reset on his charge from either the Bandit or the E-Wiz, or even if they respond with a Goblin Gang or a Minion Horde, I have Zap ready as well. So all the popular Prince counters are basically mitigated when you combo him with the Fire or the Ice Spirit at the bridge. Now we're going against Magic Archer Lumberjack Bridge Spam deck. I had this deck being played by Hatcher on the channel. Mugi, the Japanese pro, actually got number 1 and number 2 playing the deck right now that Hatcher is playing. It's a really solid deck, but yeah, it's incredibly unfriendly to free-to-play players. Check it out. It's got like 5 legendary cards. Pretty ridiculous, but it's a really, really solid deck in the game right now. It's high skill cap, though. Just keep that in mind. So we haven't played the Inferno Tower yet. We played all the rest of our 7 other cards. Let's go into tip number 2 as we have about 50 seconds remaining here in single elixir time. Tip number 2, against 2.6, which is one of the most popular decks inside the meta. I try to predict the skeletons with a zap. So whenever I play the Prince at the bridge again, he'll hover that zap, and sometimes when he thinks he can predict the placement, he will go ahead and drop it on those skeletons, because obviously skeletons being the number 1 counter to a charging Prince, either that or an Ice Golem inside 2.6. So meanwhile, Magic Archer getting a ton of damage to our left tower, taking it all the way down to 1600 here. Ooh, Hatcher, how dare you? Magic Archer can be sneaky. He's not the strongest card in the meta, but he's solid, man. He is solid. Ice Golem comes down to prevent those Fire Spirits from making contact. And here we go into double elixir time right now in this match. Here he goes, that Ice Spirit in front of the Prince again. And this time, actually a Lumberjack to make sure the Bandit can still get a charge off by Hatcher. But that's exactly what we talked about in that first tip there, guys. If he didn't use the Lumberjack, that Prince would have been able to take care of that Bandit and still engage and charge onto the Princess Tower, because we would have froze her up and not taken that hit from the dash. So here we go, resetting with the Princess in the back, but things are not looking good here again, guys. We cannot afford a loss. So here we go with the charging, and hey, this is tip number 3, or tip number 4, or 5. But either way, might as well cover it right now. One of his favorite plays is the super far off juke barrel with the Prince at the bridge with the Fire Spirits. This makes the opponent choose. Do they use their bar barrel or their log against the Goblin barrel? Do they wait for the juke barrel? They know it's a juke barrel, but that's not the point. Do they wait for it, or do they use it against the Prince and the Fire Spirits? They're normally going to use it against the Prince and the Fire Spirits, but your Prince will stay alive. Fire Spirits are dead, but who cares, because your Goblin Barrel is still alive as well. So that's a really important play that you guys need to know about when using this deck. Prince to respond to that, the Ram Rider in the right. Ooh, Fire Spirit's gonna come in handy here, and we do avoid any damage from that Ram Rider, but oh, the Goblin Gang at the very last second there against the Bandit, I believe. So here we go, it's gonna be a Magic Archer, 40 seconds now into sudden death overtime. We are at a big damage disadvantage here, and Inferno Dragon, there's the 5th legendary card. Inferno Dragon cycled in the back by Hatcher. We respond with a high Inferno Tower, gonna go ahead and pull that Ram Rider, and again, we have 1 Princess alive there, and a Prince to defend and keep that Inferno Tower close to full health. So here we go again, it's gonna be the Fire Spirits with the Prince. We get a zap out of the opponent, so now we're gonna start pressuring opposite lane. Nice pressure there, getting some serious damage to that left tower, taking it down to 1822. 2 minutes remaining in sudden death overtime. Uh-oh, this could be, I'm very worried that it's going to lose this match. It's not looking too good here. And look at the pressure Hatcher is putting up here. Raged up Bandit in the left. We have an Inferno Tower for the Ram Rider in the right. Goblin Gang responding to the Magic Archer in the right as well. So again, good defense. That was a tricky push to defend. We had the Lumberjack and then the Bandit in the left, and then we had the Ram Rider and the Magic Archer in the right. So here comes a Goblin Barrel forcing out a Barbarian Barrel out of the opponent. Now 90 seconds and time still ticking off the clock here remaining in this match. A nice Ice Spirit to stop the charge of that Bandit and the Ram Rider, and then we have Princess in the right lane doing some work against that Inferno Dragon. We need to respond to this Magic Archer here. What do we have right now? Prince, of course. So Prince is played. Let's see what he does here. Prince goes down the left lane. Zap comes down, and we make contact there. 1171 remaining on that left tower. 1 minute remaining. Well played. Comes down from Hatcher. So now, just like that, we are back in this match, guys. That charge with the Prince, reset of the Inferno Dragon. We make contact with the tower. Here comes Fire Spirits in the left lane, keeping the pressure up, applying that Fire Spirit, the Ice Spirit, the Goblin Barrel, the Prince pressure here. We're starting to play very aggressive, and here we go again. It's that far back juke Goblin Barrel. Do we have Zap in hand? I think we just used it. Unfortunately, that could have been a big push there, but now Princess still cleaning up. A Magic Archer gets some damage on the right tower. 814 remaining on our right tower, guys. Inferno Tower's in hand, though. No big spell out of the opponent, Hatcher. Inferno Tower's going to do some work. This is going to be a draw, guys. Good game comes out from KingTurk. It's going to be a draw. Man, whew. That was an intense match against a really, really good player. Of course, Hatcher being one of the OG players in the game. So, man, can't complain about that result. I feel like if you're KingTurk, a tricky matchup, played very well by Hatcher, but played well there towards the, especially the back half of that match by KingTurk. Let's go into the next one, guys. Can he get win number 11? I hope so. All right, guys, here we go again. Let's try this again against Mishot from 6 Dots. 6 Dots PL. All right, tip number 4. I always defend my Princess. That way the opponent can have more elixir. That way the opponent has to spend more elixir, excuse me, but never over-defend the Princess. So essentially, he's okay with committing another 3 elixir just to defend his Princess, so the opponent might have to spend another spell or another card to take her out, but don't go too crazy with it. So now we have a Prince charging into the other Prince. Goblin Barrel's down, Zap is down against the Bats. Now we have the Prince left on the battlefield, forcing a Spear Goblins out of the opponent here. So a nice start, getting a tiny bit of chip damage onto the left tower of the opponent. Looks like they're playing another Mortar deck, a Mortar Prince probably. We'll see the last 2 cards by Mishot. So let's keep going with the tips. Against Golem, if the opponent drops a Golem, I always pressure other lane with Prince immediately. So that's how you respond to a Golem deck. It's all about pressuring opposite lane using the Prince. You can even use the Prince and the Goblin Gang together in the opposite lane, or the Fire Spirits. And then tip number 6 is, if I know the opponent has a minion horde for my Prince, I always play a high Princess to support the Prince. So a high Princess kind of in the center of the arena. We freeze that Prince utilizing the Ice Spirit, and now we have Fire Spirits to take care of those Bats. Let's see what the opponent does. Zap comes down. Beautiful Zap against those Spirit Goblins, allowing the Prince to charge on the tower. So that was a predictive Zap, I believe. I mean, it was really close. He was either hovering it right there, or it was predictive. Either way, we score big, taking that left tower down to 877. So every time you have Zap in hand and you know your opponent might be using Spirit Goblins or Skeletons, just make sure you hover it right there and sometimes predict. The opponent already gives the good game. So match number 11 here, looking pretty good inside this grand challenge. Here comes a big push, though. We have a minor Bats and a Prince coming down. I don't even know. Maybe this is not a Mortar deck. We haven't seen Mortar once yet out of the opponent. Zap comes down, and you think he would be using it defensively, so it can't be a Mortar. I'm trying to wonder what it might be here, guys. We get another charge on that left tower, this time not using Zap to predict, but using a predictive Princess there at the river. Very, very well played by KingTurk 2 times now in this match. Of course, the second time we didn't really need it, but it's minor poison. Maybe it's just Inferno Tower here, guys. I don't know what his last card is, but I guess it doesn't really matter. With 29 seconds left, it's going to take a really, really big push here against KingTurk to pick up a win here. So here we go. It's a Prince coming down. We respond with a Prince of our own. We have another Princess ready there. Ice Spirit, again, played a little bit in advance to make sure we catch that Prince before we get to charge off on the Ice Spirit. So a Frozen Prince, 10 seconds remaining, and he made it look easy there with those 2 really OP predictive plays there on offense. Zap comes down again, 4 seconds, 3 seconds remaining, and that's going to be GG. Hey, we have ourselves a grand challenge here. Let's see if he can pick up win number 12. All right, guys, here we go. Sorry, taking a sip of my drink here because that was a long wait in between matches. So here we go against Nature Calls Me. Whenever I play somebody against Nature Calls Me, sorry, it's a protein shake in my mouth. Okay. Whenever I play against someone from Nature Calls Me, I'm immediately scared. I feel like all their players are super, super strong, but we do bait out that Bar Barrel, so we go pretty aggressive there, and look at how much damage we're doing with the Goblin Barrel. We went with the Ice Spirit, we went with the Fire Spirits, and we went with the Goblin Barrel all in that left lane, able to take the tower all the way down to 1488. See that aggression? As soon as we baited out that Barbarian Barrel early on in this match on our very, very first Goblin Gang, we went so hard in the paint in the left lane, basically unloading all our other cards. We're going against the Rascals Balloon deck, so this is going to be a challenging matchup, but we have the Inferno Tower, so, you know, we have the Inferno Tower, and of course, we have really everything that we need oh, the zap comes down. Oh, we do take one balloon hit, though, so things are right back to even Steven inside this matchup, 1 minute in plus change. Yeah, so this matchup it can be challenging because they have obviously plenty of answers to our bait, but we also have plenty of answers to their win condition in the balloon. So here we go. It's going to be Fire Spirits at the bridge. Ice Golem in the back. Fire Spirit's doing good work there, but blocked by those Rascals. So here we go. It's going to be another balloon push. Balloon, Rascals, Inferno Towers at the ready. And see how we often play that Ice Spirit? We missed a balloon there, but in tandem with the Inferno Tower, just making sure the troops don't get a charge off or any really extra damage onto that Inferno Tower. Keep it alive. Allow us to defend the rest of the push. But we do take a little bit of damage there. 1,400 remaining on our left tower. Now we have the Goblins being taken care of by those bats, and about 6 seconds remaining here in single elixir time. The tempo is going to be picking up, ladies and gentlemen, on this 12th win, hopefully, in this grand challenge. We do connect with a couple Fire Spirits there. Why did he use a Fire Spirits in the right lane there? Just simply to bait out. I mean, worst case scenario, we get some damage. We connect with 2 Fire Spirits on the strong side tower. Best case scenario, we bait out their bar barrel or their snowball on their strong side tower. So it was a nice play when you don't really have anything else to do. Fire Spirits at the bridge, certainly a viable play using this deck. So here we go, Inferno Tower down by the opponent, and here comes the balloon again. We have Inferno Tower back in our deck as well. Let's see what happens here, and we pull that balloon over. The Inferno Tower, even in the lane, obviously will still counter that balloon. So here we come with an Ice Spirit in the Prince. This time the Inferno Tower taking down our Prince. Our Inferno Tower goes down, so let's see what they do here. Are they going to go in with a balloon or just let this push die? Looks like they're happy just to let this push die. Only 10 seconds remaining here in regulation. Here comes the Prince in front of the Princess. There's that far back juke barrel, making the opponent decide what they want to do. We also reset that Inferno Tower, keeping that Prince alive for a little bit longer, but it does not result in any damage. Now a Rascal's played very high up by the opponent. Let's see if they're going to go in with a balloon here on the right. Looks like they are not. Ice Spirit is down. Here comes the balloon. We have Fire Spirit cycle in the left lane again. They use bats in the center. Here we go down again with the Inferno Tower. Princess and Spirit Goblins doing a nice job assisting in that cleanup. Princess stays alive even with the balloon death damage. We also have the Inferno Tower sitting at like 2/3 HP. So here we go again. We have the Goblin Barrel and the Ice Spirit coming down the left. This time we are able to get a little bit more chip damage. 1242 remaining on that left tower. Princess also getting some incidental damage. 1102 remaining, and we're already 15 seconds into overtime. Actually, 45 seconds, excuse me, into overtime. A minor this time on the Inferno Tower by the opponent, but again, no damage onto our left tower. 1400 HP. Here we go again with a Prince. We have Fire Spirits. Girl Rascals are going to be down. Prince is alive. Bar Barrel comes down on the Princess, which is a good sign. Now we can that frees us up to play an aggressive Goblin Barrel. Let's see what happens here. We zap to retarget that Inferno Tower away from the Prince. Inferno Tower gets back on the Prince. Inferno Tower is down. We have Goblin Barrel in hand. Are we going to use it here? Are we going to juke? No, we're not. So good job just kind of showing restraint there, not going too aggressive. Halfway through, sudden death overtime. Prince again against these Rascals here. What is going to happen in this match? Can he pull it off? Here we go. It's Fire Spirits. Nice snowball there by the opponent. But hey, no Bar Barrel in hand. They used it. Oh, well, they had it, but they had to cycle to it. 452 remaining. There's no rocket in this deck. We can't just spell cycle. There's no poison. We have to get that damage. But here we go again. We're staying aggressive here, guys. Goblin Gang at the bridge. We have the zap down. Goblin Barrel Tower down. KingTurk wins again. And there we have it, guys. GG's KingTurk. Man, he did it, guys. He was at 9-2, went all the way to 12 wins inside this video. Man, it ended up being a good video. We didn't even have to hop to ladder. Check out my man's profile. He's currently 36th in the world on ladder, 71-21. If you want to go see him play live on ladder as well, check out the other video. I'll have that in the description for you guys. Check out his player stats and profile. Thanks to statsroyale.com, a channel sponsor here. And of course, a huge shout out to KingTurk. Follow him on Twitter. He's a great guy. I see him very active there, giving people advice and answering questions about the deck. So make sure you give him some love on Twitter, guys. And of course, a huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information as well. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.